approve the agenda for tonight. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Griffin made a motion and Donna has a second to that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will look, now that we have an agenda, at the minutes from the June meeting. We did not have a July meeting. Does anybody have any comments, additions, corrections to our excellent June minutes? It was a short meeting. Anything? Motion to approve from Stewart. Second from Griffin. All in favor? Aye. The minutes from June are approved. And our next item is to discuss a new date for the September meeting because we have Labor Day on that Monday.
Right, traditionally you guys have moved the meeting to the following Thursday at noon, so that would be the 9th, September 9th.
Does that work for everyone here?
Sure. At noon.
At noon and that's a Thursday, September 9 at noon for our next meeting. Okay, that sounds approved. Good enough?
Yeah, can somebody motion on
You need a motion?
Yes.
My motion to move it to September 9th at noon.
Griffin makes a motion.
Second.
Second from Stewart. All in favor of a meeting September 9 at noon, say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes, so we will see each other September 9 at noon.
Great.
And thank you, Kate, for remembering that. We will start now with our COAs, the first of which is number 380. And we are represented today by Edie Conkerton, the architect, and by Clint Boutwell, the owner, who's on the phone. First, we usually hear from Kate, our historic preservationist, on the case.
Okay. This application concerns 1007 East Jackson Avenue, which is currently the Julep restaurant. The applicant requests approval for renovations to the existing building and to install a new rooftop dining area. The applicant intends to build a new structure within the existing footprint and facade by bracing the front and rear facades, building a new structure within that will support that rooftop dining area. A stair enclosure is proposed, which I believe a lot of you went out to view a mock-up of prior to this meeting. And the second floor addition that's there will remain, and the current HVAC that's on the first floor will be relocated to the second floor, and those parapet walls are high enough to meet the parapet requirements in the land development code. So they won't be changing that parapet. The building is listed in the Historic Resource Inventory Survey as non-contributing. Let's see. This application was heard on a complimentary basis at the April 2021 meeting of this commission. This application has changed a great deal since then. The applicant intends to install the new building with a lower ceiling height. This would allow the rooftop floor level to sit lower than the height of the existing roof and will eliminate the need for a railing flush with the front facade as was presented previously. The existing front parapet will essentially act as a railing. There'll be a planters set directly behind that parapet, and then from there it'll be the seating for the restaurant. The applicant also reduced the massing of the proposed new stair enclosure since that meeting. The request for the use of an unenclosed rooftop will require a special exception from the Planning Commission. That case was heard at the June meeting, and that matter was deferred until this commission could weigh in on the design of the new improvements to the building. Let's see, the guidelines recommend that additions should be located to non-character defining elevations and recommend against the construction of additional stories so that the historic appearance of the building is radically changed. The guidelines also state that new additions should be compatible in size and scale, setback, materials, and design as the main structure. An application or addition should be done in a manner that does not diminish the character of the building and the district. The applicant has made changes to reduce the visual impact of the rooftop dining area since the complimentary review that you guys saw. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about the staff report. Edie is also here on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you, Kate. First, let me ask Clint, who's joining us on the phone. Can you hear? Did you hear Kate? And can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear everything. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kate. Just for clarification for me, Because this was a little complicated for me.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what an infill building is and why this building is different? Explain about how it does not have walls and the process of building something new inside it.
So Edie might be better to answer the part about the walls, but it's my understanding that the applicant only owns the front and rear walls and the area in between that, and the party walls are owned by the other buildings. So that would be St. Leo on the left and the bank on the right. So it's my understanding that everything on the first floor exterior is remaining. The front and rear facades will be braced. That second floor addition is going to remain, and they're going to lower the existing ceiling, right? So when I'm talking about the floor height of the rooftop bar, that's the ceiling height of the first floor, right? So they're lowering that so that the rooftop dining area sits below the existing parapet. So they're going to install a structure, and it's my understanding that the steel structure they're installing is not going to touch those party walls that the applicant doesn't own.
So there will be walls next to the side walls that hold up the new building with the ceiling a little lower than what you thought it would be the last time okay, I understand that, thank you.
Similar to what Funky's is doing, kind of.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know exactly how Funky's is handling it, but probably. I think that this is the way you have to handle a lot of these.
Isn't it a reality that that strip one day could go vertical up to 2.5 stories?
Well, according to zoning, maybe. I don't actually know what it's zoned, but the building next door, the St. Leo building, is contributing. So that would, if it were to go vertical, that would have to be according to the design guidelines. So I don't know that it would necessarily be 2-story up to the front elevation, because I think that conflicts with the guidelines. But perhaps, someone could do an addition similar to what was done here, for sure. I think it would depend on the commission at the time and what was proposed. It's not like for instance, the Landry strip by 208 is all listed as non-contributing, and that's not the case here.
I don't know. What is right next door as you're facing the building? What is to the right?
The bank.
And it's
all of that is the bank.
Far? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Offices for the bank. Okay. And I looked at it today, and it was helpful. Thank you for putting up the orange flag. I had to call Kate because I didn't quite understand where were the stairs, but I did look at it, and you have to go almost to St. Leo to see to St. Leo Lounge, or what used to be St. Leo Lounge, in order to see.
That's actually where I took one of the pictures the other morning. Was walking down to where you could see it.
So can hear you. And I'm happy to go to any other pages of your.
Oh yeah, that's where I actually went down and took some of the pictures the other morning when I was walking the street, was to go down to where you could finally see the flags. But we studied that pretty closely to make sure.
Do we have a side elevation from the west in particular?
There is, I have a quasi-building section.
That'd be, yeah.
There we go.
Even better. Yep, good.
So from the front, from the street, we would see flowers, and that's it?
Yes.
So you're gonna lower the first floor ceiling as far back as you need to, and then the stairs will come out, and all that would be below vision from the street.
Yes. Yeah, actually, we're running the stairs so that we don't exceed the 12 feet and have to have landings and keeping them going, things like that. But
And can you remind us again, just materiality on that little stair addition?
what you will see is siding on the side, which is similar to what's up there now, and then the roof part that's sloped down will be single ply, white.
I'll have to say I was a little hesitant when it was proposed the first time, being able to see it and changing the whole elevation and all, but I just want to praise you for going back and doing what you did and making this doable. And I did go by
Thanks.
today to look and to see and had a visit with Kate, and I feel a lot more comfortable with it now. And I appreciate the work y'all put into it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, this is really what we want to do. So, and if it's any guidance, I'm 5'4", and that where the front pediment is going to be will be about 5'2", 5'3". So,
I think I remember that in the complimentary, you had it was a trellis structure that was coming out to the front
Yeah,
face, and I think that's
yeah.
what was at least hanging me up, yeah.
okay.
I think it's good.
Agreed, thank you for lowering it and making it unobtrusive. Do we have any other questions for Edie or any questions for Clint on the phone? Or Clint, do you want to say anything?
No, as long as everybody saw the pictures, yeah, that's pretty much what we intend there. I think it looks pretty great the way she's created it.
Edie, so will it just be a door on the second floor coming out still?
Yes, and that will face the current second floor wall.
Okay.
If you want to check with anybody, the massive people in here in the audience that would like to speak.
Would anyone from the audience like to speak?
Jenny, are you here to protect?
Ben, would you like to speak?
I'm just kidding.
I motion we approve.
We have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Edie. Thank you,
Thank
Clint.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all.
Our next COA is number 381 for signage. And Kate, if you will talk about that one for a minute, please.
Sure, so heading a little down the street. The applicant at 922 Jackson Avenue East, the current St. Leo restaurant, requests approval to remove the existing wall signage and install a new projecting blade sign. It'll be a lighted sign that features a brass cabinet with an off-white light box face with gold hand-painted lettering. I put all of the relevant portions of the design guidelines in your report. Blade signs specifically are not recommended as a sign type in the historic district. And lighted signs are recommended to be lit with gooseneck lighting. However, the guidelines also recognize that there are many different sign types for many different buildings, and that there may be solutions outside of the options presented in the guidelines. The design of the proposed sign is successful according to the material, lettering, color, and style recommendations. The lettering is simple and straightforward, and the colors are muted in keeping with the softened tones of the structures in the historic districts. We've seen several lighted signs recently. There's currently a lighted sign at this building with a similar light box. So Virginia is here on behalf of the applicant. Staff is recommending approval of the requested sign.
Okay, do we have questions of Kate or of Virginia about this blade sign for St. Leo?
So it sounds like it's internally lit. Can you describe, I guess, what portion glows, what does not, and materials of the glowing portion? Please.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lukenbach with Howarth and Associates Architects on behalf of St. Leo. The entire box will glow. It's a basic acrylic sign. It'll be hand painted St. Leo on it. As you can see from the inspiration pictures, we were trying to go back to the original restaurant. It's at the top of the building. We put it down just because there's some issues with a sign above the roof line.
So it's like a gold, yellow acrylic?
Yes,
glows?
it is. It'll be hand painted in gold, yes. And it's an off-white acrylic box.
And are you taking off the letters that say
St. Leo
on the
Lounge, we
side?
are.
And then
taking
what will it look like after you get them off?
Well, that is tile, so we're gonna fill the holes with an epoxy to match, hopefully it'll go away and you won't be able to see it. But there's only, I think there's I can't tell you exactly how many holes there are in it right now, but it wasn't a lot because the box isn't heavy, so it did need a lot of support.
I'll miss it. I like that sign.
I like that sign too, but
And it looks like the Mistalist sign on the building.
that was the intent.
In general, I think that y'all did a great job with that building to make it, to
thank
keep it looking like it did when it was the Oxford Eagle building or the Mistalist building.
Thank you.
Any other questions about a blade sign?
I'll motion to approve.
We have a motion from Griffin to approve the sign.
Second.
A second from Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Our next COA is number 382 for changes to windows at 1200 Harrison. Kate, will you tell us about that, please?
Sure. So the applicant is requesting approval to install new windows on the west and south elevations of the existing building. The applicant received approval at the April meeting of the Planning Commission for a special exception that would allow the use of this space to be used as residential rather than commercial, and they're making these changes to meet egress requirements. And Corey Augers here on behalf of the applicant, if anyone has questions.
Thank you, Kate.
Staff recommends approval, sorry.
Do I need to be up here for this since I'm the neighbor?
Do you have a vested financial interest in the outcome? Then you're fine, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have questions about adding these egress windows to make this approved for residential? Any questions for Corey from the commission or Kate? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Griffin motions to approve,
Second.
and there's a second from Stewart. Any discussion? All in favor of granting approval, say aye. Aye. And that motion passes. That was number 382. And next, moving right along, we have our last COA, and that's 383. And Griffin owns this business, and he is a commissioner, so he is stepping down. And Kate, yeah, thank you. Kate, will you comment on this one, please?
Okay. This COA concerns 1008 East Jackson Avenue, the portion of the building furthest to the left when you're looking at it straight on that currently houses Tangos. The applicant is requesting approval to move the existing garage overhead door back to sit flush with the existing recessed front entry. The overhead door that's the subject of the request was installed in 2017 when the existing storefront was removed to create an alcove, and the door was recessed at that time, I assume for ADA reasons. The applicant proposes relocating this door back from the street 10 feet to accommodate more patio space on next to the newly widened sidewalk. The proposed design further recesses the storefront for this business from the front of the building, creating a completely recessed storefront opening and creating a hole in the appearance of the facade. The request should be considered carefully by the commission. While the design guidelines do recommend that if an existing storefront needs replacement, it is acceptable to install a contemporary treatment that respects both the character of the historic building and it's compatible with the streetscape. They also state that new storefront openings might echo the conjectural size and placement of the original openings. I went back through, so I wasn't here in 2017, but I went back through the case files and linked them in your report. This case was heard twice in 2017, and the first design featured a low bar at the front of the space that opened into the restaurant behind, and that design was revised to include the overhead door that's the subject of the applicant's request today. The preservation consultant notes at that time noted that that was to fix the problem of having a hole in the front elevation of the building. So based on that and the design guidelines, staff recommended denial of the proposed request.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Do the commissioners have any questions of Kate on this?
I guess I do. I mean, this existing storefront has existed since 2017.
Yeah.
Right, and before that, it replaced an original storefront, which really was not original because it was already kind of a whole,
Right.
you know, what was there. It was already set back. What the garage door replaced, that wall was set back about 4 feet already. So I don't know. To me, it's curious that this would be a problem given that it's we're replacing something that was built 4 years ago.
Yeah, I get it. I just, you know, the building was a hotel originally and probably had siding there, and then these storefronts were cut in. And I thought, based on the storefront portion of the guidelines, having something closer to the street would better fit with the guidelines. But I totally understand if that's, you know, you don't agree.
So like you would rather see it be a new and out at the face of the building to sort of rebuild what it originally would have been.
Yeah, I think that right now the presence of the door is there. I mean, I understand they roll it up a lot of times when the building is open, and this will create like a fully recessed, basically void in that elevation. And if all of the building owners were to do that, you'd have a building that has a lot of voids where there once was solid. But that doesn't mean that, I mean, I'm recommending denial based on the guidelines, but that doesn't mean you guys don't do something else.
Yeah, I guess just to finish my thought and then I'll shut up. I think to me this is already a hole. If let's say the neighboring businesses all came in and said we want to make equal holes all the way down, well, you know, we're punching new holes in the building. I think to me this already reads as a hole there. So we're pushing it from 4 feet back to 10 feet. If the objection is the patio space out front, to me that's a different thing. But to me it's just making the hole a little bit deeper, but it already reads as a hole, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, I went and looked at it today and spent a little time staring, and I know exactly what you mean. What I would like to do to that building is bring those double glass doors forward to be flush with the garage door so that the rhythm of the whole Henry Hotel is all the same. But I do have a question. Would moving this back hurt the building? Would it be a change that couldn't easily be undone?
No, I don't think so. No, I would consider it like a removable change.
I did go by there and look today because I did have concerns about stepping it back quite so far and having all that open space, more chairs, more tables. But I have to use the words, the rhythm of what's going on to the right to continue sort of the same setback. So if you move it back further, you've got more hole there than you do going further down the street. And for that reason, I think the way it is now is appropriate, and it fits in and it works. I don't know that I would like to see it move back.
Anybody else? And are we allowed to hear from Griffin himself? No? Okay. All right, so we will hear from Corey, the architect.
It's me. Overhead camera, the elevation's one thing because it's not changing any, but I think it's most important to talk about that drawing if we can get the camera to work back there. And I'm going to give this easier to kind of just outline things, because I've made a couple of bullet points here to help, I think, articulate what Stuart has already said. I think it's easier to kind of make sure we understand where we're going with this. We can just include this as a general part of the record. So we can just briefly go through this, and then I can stop talking and we can have a conversation. But all fronts of stores are storefronts, but not all things are a storefront. And this is a garage door, and as Kate alluded to, when the building's open, generally it'll be out of the way. So it doesn't exist, whether it be 3 feet from the front facade or 50 feet from the facade. It still creates the same void. The big mitigating issue here, it seems to me, is that A, the building's not historical, the facade's not historical, the garage door's not historical, so is it a historical preservation issue? It's in a district. Secondly, I don't know that if the city had done what the city had done, that we would even be here. That creation of outdoor dining and the recreation of an entire streetscape based on the city's plan, and what you see before you is what Mark Levy shared with me about the design that's currently under construction. So if the city were not creating that sidewalk and not charging rent for it, then I don't know that Griffin would be here asking for his storefront to go back to create more outdoor seating. So what we're actually requesting is the same thing the city is providing, which is more outdoor dining. So the relocation of the door is not so much about preservation or even the door itself. It's more about how do we create in a narrow facade, because he only has that much width, and he'll have to put a fence around it, a gate, some kind of barrier by ABC. I don't even know what those are going to look like yet. Y'all may have a better idea what those are going to look like than I do, but they're going to have to be there. Otherwise, you can't serve alcohol out on an open sidewalk. So that front creates no longer walking to the front of the building. You're walking 15 feet or 20 feet away from the building because you're moving the sidewalk out to the curb. That's what the city has done. So the reaction to this is going, okay, we can move this back flush to the existing door and create a little more outdoor dining and a little less indoor dining. That's the extent of the request.
I still can't believe this building is not contributing. I mean, personally, I know we go through this every time there's something on this, but I can't believe it's non-contributing. I mean, it's a really old building.
Yeah, we say that often. I can't believe this is non-contributing, so I would say that's not new.
Well, the last meeting, which wasn't with you, was with the other Preservation Commission, and I questioned the real value of the surveys themselves being somewhat incomplete. I think is an understatement. But I think they're redoing those, which I think we all welcome.
The Secretary of the Interior standards are pretty strict on changes to character defining features of the buildings, and I'd have to assume that since the building was a hotel and they cut in all of the storefronts, that would have to be why.
What's the date of construction of this hotel?
I think I have the survey in here. Let me see. We have it listed as circa 1920, and it was converted for a restaurant and retail circa 1990.
And it said garage doors 2017.
But just because a building's listed as non-contributing doesn't mean that it's not still important historically.
Right, it's in a historic district, and I think it is a historic preservation issue, which is why you are before us today. So, of course, we want to.
It is.
Suggesting that the
Right.
is historic.
Right, so even if it were a brand new
I think
building.
the facade's not being altered, regardless. It's the same facade. It's not changing. It's just moving back 10 feet. And is that a preservation issue or a planning issue?
Well, it does change the rhythm of the street, which is one of the 11 things that we have to think about when we make changes.
As well as the city's creating a different rhythm of the street by moving barriers in front of the building. I mean, I know it seems like it's a secondary or even tertiary component, but the city sidewalk expansion is a huge change to how you're going to move up and down that street. You're not going to walk along the sidewalk anymore, not along the building facade. You're going to be out where that line is dashed. That changes the way you engage the building. And it will happen all the way down the line.
From further away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not.
It's a voluntary program though too, right? So you might just have open space. You might just have.
You could just have anything, except for it has to be rented from the city if you do anything with it. So Griffin's here requesting to move the door back 10 feet from where it is now. That's it. The fence hasn't been approved, hasn't even been designed. We don't even know what that's going to look like yet. He's got a very narrow window of space here. You can see the width of the door and the width of the garage door. The idea is that the hole in the facade will stay the same. The garage doors will be back, even with the existing doors. That's it. I find this to be very, very minor, but that's why we're here.
Donna, I know you have an objection to changing the rhythm because it does make kind of a hole in the facade. And Stuart, you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like it's already a hole. It's, you know, the garage door is 4 feet back, another 10 feet back. I think that it's still on the face of the building, you know, there's a hole there, wherever it is. So yeah, that's what but I will say, I mean, Corey, I think that to say the city has given us a bunch of outdoor space we can use, so now we're compelled and must create more outdoor space is not really a very good argument. I mean, that's kind of a silly argument to make, like, hey, we get extra outdoor space, so now we have to do more. I don't know, I don't get that one.
As well, I mean, I think my letter's pretty clear. It says the pandemic and the city.
No,
Combining the two, outdoor dining has become a bigger thing.
Yeah, sure.
So it also gives it an advantage to that particular area if it bumps it back 10 feet. It gives that one space more opportunity to have more outdoor dining than the other buildings down the street.
Exactly.
So what if every other bay wanted to recess 10 feet? It would look kind of weird. That's concerning.
But I guess, and I'm not trying to sway anyone, I have my opinion, everybody should have their own. I mean, it's already an existing condition, that hole in the building, and I'm just justifying why I am personally okay with it, because I think if Rafters and Annex and all those came in and said, we want to do exactly what Tango's has done, I think I would say no, because you're now punching a new hole in the building. So that's why I'm personally okay with it, because to me, it's already a void in the building.
That's reasonable. Amanda? Mm-hmm. Anything?
I agree.
It does make it a little bit more of a hole. It is moving it back 10 feet. But I certainly see the point of this part of it is not historic anyway, and it could easily be put back. Yes? Any more questions for Corey? Is there a motion?
I guess I will motion to approve.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Do we have further discussion? And let me ask a question also. We have a quorum of, what do we have to pass? I know we're a few people here today. What do we have to pass?
You have a majority.
Okay, so of whoever is, okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve, and any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. And opposed? Donna is opposed. So the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Okay, our next item is a staff update on the historic survey.
So speaking of the surveys, we have turned in all of the documents to close out our certified local government grant for the resurvey with the Department of Archives and History. And as a part of that grant, I'm going to share my screen. As a part of that grant, we've been working with Leslie, our GIS guy, on creating a map of the historic districts that will house all of the information that we have. And this is just a working version of it. And the hope is that I'll send you guys, we're doing this with the HPC as well, I'll send you guys the link after this meeting and you'll be able to sort of look through the document, and we want to have the updated surveys accepted by the Mayor and Board of Aldermen at the second meeting, the second Mayor and Board of Aldermen meeting, which would be the 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I want to send you guys this link, and if anyone has any questions or concerns about the updated surveys, please meet with me, call me, email me, whatever. But we're excited about this map because right now a lot of people call and say, well, is my house contributing? What do you know about my house? All of that stuff. And this map, when it goes live, we'll be able to direct them to it. And you can either look by photo. So like, for instance, we can click on Nilsson's. And you'll see the parcel information, any information we have about the building. So there's sorry, I know that the type is small on this. But there's the historic description from the updated survey. We have the source, the Sanborn fire insurance maps. Anyway, so it has all of the information that we know about the building. If there are any outbuildings, it lists if the building is contributing or non-contributing. And the hope is that this will sort of demystify things for people who are interested in historic buildings in Oxford, and also people like Stuart or people doing work on a project. So
fine looking building there.
Huh?
So that's a fine looking building there.
Yes, it is. Everybody loves that one.
Do y'all expect any changes to building statuses?
Yes. I don't have our consultant did not provide a list, so I will be creating that list. The periods of significance for the historic districts were not updated. We didn't change any of the National Register nominations. So the only way that a building would have changed status is if it was for some reason left out the last time of the survey in the period of significance for the district, or let's say a property owner made changes that brought the building more close to contributing. It's possible to go from non-contributing to contributing if you do a project that really fixes a problem that has been in the past with the building. So, but I don't anticipate a ton of changed status. Go for it, yeah.
So I cannot commend Kate and Leslie enough for their work to put this together. And, it seems, I don't know, maybe it seems simple, I know how this stuff works, but it seems simple to have a map, have information at hand for people, right? And this is, I think this is something that's been desperately needed, and we've talked about this ad nauseum over the years about how can we make the COAs and the surveys more accessible to our residents. And so I really can't commend Kate and Leslie enough for their hard work to put this together. It's not perfect. We're going to continue to clean it up, and we're going to continue to make it better. Just looking at the information and how it reads, I'm already sitting here thinking, well, we can probably reorganize that to make it even better. But to put it in perspective, when we came up with this idea and we were talking with MDAH, they thought, wow, that's a really good idea, and keep track of how you do this so that way you can inform us, because we're going to be the only jurisdiction in the state to have this system that I'm aware of. Yeah, and maybe even beyond just this state. I think it actually goes well beyond that. So, we're certainly thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. I think it's really neat how you can search by just zooming in, kind of like Google Maps. You can zoom into the property that you know, and you can just click on the piece of property. Or you can just search by pictures of a building if you don't even know where it is and you wanted to see, oh yeah, I'm looking at this particular building that I saw that's for sale and I want to know more about it. I just think that's it's fascinating. So Kate has done a really good job of shepherding this project, and MDH is really pleased with that. So,
and one thing that we didn't point out is we did get all of the surveys updated, and they're much better quality. And we do have those, and Angie's actually digitized them all. And if, let's say, someone calls and wants the actual survey, we'll be able to send it to them, and they're a lot more accurate in their architectural descriptions. So that's also a bit.
Lastly, I'll say one more thing. And it probably applies more to the HPC than maybe this commission, but we have a lot of properties that are non-contributing in the residential districts, and we often get the question of, well, why is this building, why is it non-contributing? And so we did ask our true. We asked our consultant to create a database of all the non-contributing properties and evaluate why they're considered non-contributing, so that way we have some additional information. Maybe it's because the building was broken up, maybe it's because of additions that have been added over time that changed, you know, how it reads. So, so we're gonna have that information at hand, not only for y'all, for us, and then also for people in the community.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you, Trailblazers.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'll send you guys this map and just let me know if you have any concerns. And if you do not, we will hopefully be getting it passed at the second, because we won't meet again before the second Board of Alderman meeting.
Yeah, please take the time to look at it. We're probably so close to it now that it's nice to have fresh eyes on it and a different perspective, and maybe you'll see things that we just didn't see before.
I can't wait to use it.
Yeah. So you're going to email it to us?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Kate and Ben.
And you'll be able to find
And
this
Angie.
where? Would it be on the city's website?
Yeah, just like how you would go to the website and look at the current zoning map, or
Gotcha.
something like that, it'll be there.
Yeah, I foresee us putting it in 3 different places. I think we have a page, well, we'll put it on the planning site, we'll put it on the page for the different commissions, and then there may be one other place that we can put it on there.
I'm excited about it because like the same 10 people want surveys all the time, so now we can, it's like, you know.
Stuart.
You can find it on your own. Congratulations.
Say, I already sent you that.
Wow. So each building has a little history attached to it if it's contributing?
Well, even the
non-contributing.
So you had to go back and do a lot of research on that.
Well, so we hired a consultant with the money from the grant to do all of that work, and it was, her name
I
was
was about
Judith
to say,
Johnson.
yeah.
Yeah, she's an architectural historian.
Yeah,
And then
we
they
did a
were-
lot of research.
I did them all.
You have to be,
that would-
24/7 doing that.
Yeah, she was out surveying day after day, and she has a small team, and then they're reviewed by the Department of Archives and History for accuracy, and they go through everything. And since they administered, it was a matching grant, so we went halvesies with them basically on the project. And they saw all the surveys, and anyway,
So ours is gonna be a role model.
Great, great. So if there was a COA ever on the property, is that listed?
No, I think ideally, maybe you want to answer this, but we are getting a new permitting software. We're coming to the end of building it, and we're gonna get that soon. It's GIS linked, so I think eventually we'd love for all of the information to be available in one place, but I don't know how close we are to that. I mean, you know.
So we have the matrix now that we can actually incorporate the information in here through a link. So that's where we're going.
We want to, yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, we want a one-stop shop that will help tell the story for every piece of property. Planning Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, we want to be able to go to one place and you can look up, has this property received variances? Has it been approved for a COA, et cetera?
Any chance it links to the county tax information?
Our zoning map does now.
No, I mean, like if you pull up, will that one-stop shop, could it include
Yes.
county tax info?
I think eventually we wanted to have like actually everything, it's a step-by-step
Cool.
process.
Biographies of all the owners.
Autobiographies of all the owners.
Autobiographies.
Autobiographies.
It'll be like
Funny anecdotes. That's great. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Anything else from staff? Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Griffin motions to adjourn.
Second.
Second from Stewart. All in favor, say aye. Aye.